This week's TED Talk was by Michael Specter, The Danger of Science Denial. And Mr. Specter talked about how we should ask questions and how we should demand answers from the science community. He also talks about how genetically modified organisms play a role in our society today, and also how he compares it to how vaccines have had such an important impact in our past, and how they continue to have a vital impact on our future. He talks about how America is one of the few countries that their vaccine rates are continually to go down, and how that can benefit and how that can hurt America. So he goes on to talk about how America may not have the polio vaccine today. He uses this example, how America may not have the polio vaccine today, but you never know what individual might enter the country and travel across the United States that carry the polio vaccine, and how if you're not vaccinated, you could easily contract that disease. And he goes on to talk about how we don't trust big government, and how we don't trust larger companies that have a lot to deal with government, but we do trust what he likes to refer to as called the big placebo. So we might not like prescription medicine, but we might all voluntarily rush to take vitamins and minerals that we see on TV that says it'll help us, and how they claim that it will boost your immune system and it'll keep you healthy and it'll keep you from having to go to the doctor, but ultimately does it really? And that's what he's saying. Like, we all believe and we put trust into what we consider, or what he considers, the big placebo, but does it have any more effect on us than what prescription medicine does? And then he goes on to talk about genetically modified organisms and how it has an impact, and how it's really in the news today, and how it's all on our forefront, and to talk about why it benefits us. Does it help us or does it hurt us? He goes on to talk about, and he makes kind of the pun that says that tangerines and oranges weren't in the Garden of Eden, but we've had them as long as we can remember. And do we consider them an GMO? Do we consider them a genetically modified organism? No, not really, we don't. But so what's the difference between us in the past, creating genetically modified organisms, into bringing it into a science focus and, looking at it under a microscope? So he does admit that there are risks when you take on these new found ways of creating different organisms, and creating and modifying these organisms to not only grow more efficiently or grow better for us. So like we could have like a seedless watermelon. That's how seedless watermelons came, was it is a genetically modified organism. So you have to look at it from that object and that perspective. And then it also goes into talk about why do we object about it. So why do we object to these things? Could it be the social norm? Or, if you look at it from our book, we look at it from claims of fact. What kind of facts are there? So if you look at it, we just basically do not have enough facts. I do rate this TED Talk a 10 out of 10, and I really enjoyed Mr. Specter's view on everything, and I definitely would not mind sitting down and talking with him about some of these opinions that he had.